The Mirror of the Lotus, an Eastern parable about beauty. I want thence without reflection. In the old days, when clouds bowed to mountains and trees still whispered in forgotten tongues, there lived a young prince named Li Wei. He was known across the 5 provinces as the most beautiful youth of his time. His skin was as smooth as moonlight on still water, and his eyes held the shimmer of early spring. Poets praised his form, painters followed him like shadows, and maidens sent him poems folded like lotus petals. Yet with all his beauty, Prince Li Wei was troubled, for in all the palace there were no mirrors. When he was a child, he had asked his nursemaid why. "The emperor has forbidden them," she whispered. Long ago, he saw something he could not forget, but that only made the prince more curious. And as he grew, so did his restlessness. "How can I know I am beautiful?" he once asked his tutor, "if I have never seen myself?" His tutor replied, "The flower does not see itself, yet all who pass by are gladdened." But the prince was not satisfied with riddles. And so, on his 20th birthday, he resolved to find a mirror, not of water, not of words, but one that showed truth. Tut-tut-tut. The journey begins. Disguised as a traveling monk, Prince Li Wei left the palace one dawn, with only a robe, a small pack, and a silver flute. He journeyed beyond the city walls, into the lands where farmers bent with the rice, and wind moved like silk through the bamboo. He asked every village he passed, "Do you have a mirror?" Some pointed to lakes, some to polished bronze, but none seemed to hold the answer he sought. In one village, an old woman said, "If you wish to see your true reflection, seek the mirror of the lotus, hidden in the mountains of the west. But beware, it does not always show what one expects." That was enough for Li Wei. The 3 reflections. In the western mountains, after weeks of walking in silence, the prince came upon a hidden temple, carved into a cliff of white stone. A monk with eyebrows like wings greeted him. "You have come to see the mirror," the monk said, before the prince could speak. Li Wei bowed. "Yes, master." The monk led him to a room filled with stillness. At its center stood a pool, round and black as night, edged with lotus blossoms. Above it, a single lantern glowed. "This mirror shows not the face but the essence," the monk said. "You may look 3 times and no more. Each time reveals a different layer of beauty. If you look a 4th, the reflection will be lost forever." Li Wei nodded, breath held in his throat. First reflection. The shell. He leaned over the water and saw himself for the first time. His breath caught. He was indeed beautiful, more than any poem, more than any lover's praise. The sharp lines of his cheek, the softness in his eyes, the curve of his lips. He was art made flesh. His heart swelled, but a strange thing happened. The longer he looked, the less he felt joy. His mind began to whisper, "Is that truly you? Is it only light and bone? Will it last?" He pulled away dizzy. The monk said nothing. Second reflection, the mask. After resting, Li Wei returned and looked again. This time the water shimmered and showed not his face, but the faces of those who had gazed upon him. A painter smiling, a maiden blushing, a jealous brother frowning, an old servant weeping as he bowed. Each expression was a mirror of how his beauty had touched others. Desire, joy, envy, sadness. He saw that his beauty was not a thing of his own making. It was a wind stirring leaves, a spark lighting other minds. And he saw too how it had wounded, distracted, enchanted. It was power, and it had weight. He sat for a long time, quiet as the dusk. Third reflection, the root. For the final time he leaned over the pool. Now the water grew still and deep. He saw not his face, nor the faces of others, but a child crying in the rain, a youth reaching to feed a bird, hands shaping a flute, a man sitting beneath a tree, simply listening. He saw who he was beyond form, the self that had nothing to do with skin or eyes, the self that loved music, stillness, story and sky, the one who wept and hoped and cared. And he smiled, truly smiled, for the first time on his journey. He turned to the monk. This is me. The monk nodded. This is what remains when beauty fades. It is not lesser. It is clearer. Levi bowed deeply. Understand now. I fortaten, favatani, pavabi cantada, habrutiosus mania parable. The return. Prince Levi returned to the palace, but he no longer adorned himself in silks or sought the gaze of others. He spent his days teaching music to the children of the court and tending the palace garden. He refused to sit for portraits. He let his hair grow and wore plain robes. Some whispered, "What happened to his vanity?" Others said, "He has lost his beauty." But the older ones, those who had looked closely, saw something else. His presence now held a calmness that shimmered deeper than any face. His eyes had become quiet pools, not mirrors. His voice, though soft, carried like the scent of tea leaves in rain. One day, a young court servant asked him, "Prince, do you still think you are beautiful?" Levi smiled and said, "Some things once seen no longer need reflection. Final thoughts. True beauty is not how the world sees you, but how you move through the world. It is not a mirror, but a window, through which light passes quietly and makes others shine."